Well, it's Wednesday, and you all know what that means. As you know, we are now in day 5 of New Japan Pro Wrestling's Super Junior Tag League. So we are now going to see who is going to advance, who's undefeated, the whole 9 yards. So we're possibly going to be focusing mostly on Block A. And then, of course, we move on with AEW Dynamite, with Fright Night Dynamite, with some very interesting matches taking place. The AEW tag team titles are on the line. We have Swerve Strickland versus Shelton Benjamin, and a whole lot of things that took place, and I think everybody's going to enjoy. And then we cap up our episode with some news updates to give you guys update on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jay right here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only from here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, I can put it on the next video or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions I've said, I believe it's time to get the show on the road. So let's begin with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, day 5 of New Japan Pro Wrestling's Super Junior Tag League. Now, we are now in a situation where we're going to see undefeated people that already are catching up in the lead of their blocks. Now, this is the entirety of Block A, all 3 matches. Now, our first match, we have TMDK, Kosei Fujita and Robbie Eagles taking on Tigre Suicida, consisting of Capitan Suicida and Tiger Mask. Now, of course, Tigre Suicida has not been able to pick up a win since the start of this tournament. We have seen TMDK were able to pick up 2 impressive wins, and they just recently had a loss. But, however, that did not stop anything in this match. But, however, it was foretold that Tigre Suicida are officially out of the tournament due to the fact they did not get the necessary points. So, it led with, of course, having the Ron Miller special by Robbie Eagles to apply onto Tiger Mask, and just like that, it was over. So they get their 6 points, and I think they're one of 2 in the lead in the block. Now our next match, we have the House of Morons, of course, the House of Torture, Kanemaru and Sho taking on LIJ and Hiromu. It's no secret about these 2 teams wanting to hate each other. Of course, it was going to be tactics coming from the House of Morons. I mean, of course, we saw that Bushi was handcuffed out of nowhere, and thank God for Shomakato being a good young lion that he is. He decided to, of course, find something that would free Bushi, and he did. However, the damage may have been done enough, but of course, there's always a backup plan. That effing Tokyo pimp Yujiro showed up out of nowhere with the cane, whacking people up, and then of course Sho applying a pinfall on Bushi, giving them the 6 points. This is the worst nightmare that everybody, they don't want to see the House of Torture winning the damn tournament. Someone needs to put them away, and hopefully they do it sooner. But however, they did have 6 points. Basically, they're tied with TMDK. Sooner or later, they have to fix that. But as for LIJ, they only have 2 points. Our next match, we have Skateboard Bros, consistent of Dragon Dia and Ryosuke Taguchi, taking on Bullet Club War Dogs, Maloney, and Clark Connors. Now, of course, we know that Connors and Maloney are two of the toughest SOBs. They will do whatever it takes to dismantle their opponents left and right. But that did not stop them one way or another. It was, of course, Dragon Dia who picked up the win, giving their first 2 points in this. Basically, it became 2 points. Their first win so far. I don't know how things will go. I'm not sure if they're officially out or not, but we'll see what happens. But of course, they remain tied with Bullet Club War Dogs remain tied 6 with House of Torture and TMDK. So we'll see what happens down the road. But for now, this is what we have for this. So let's move on with AEW Dynamite. AEW Dynamite opened up with Orange Cassidy. As you know, what we saw last week with the result of Jon Moxley and his cohorts attacking Chuck Taylor. Of course, Orange Cassidy acknowledged what happened. Of course, he even mentioned about how people were looking at him as a leader, even though he confessed that he's no leader. But he's not going to deny what happened. But he also is deciding that he's going to take this battle on his own because of danger, how young these kids are. So that's what he was doing. But the only way this is going to end is if he cut off the head of the snake, and that is Jon Moxley. So he issued a challenge to Jon Moxley for the AEW World Title. So we don't know if that's wise, but we'll see what happens. Now, of course, Renee Paquette does an interview with Camille along with Mercedes Moné to talk about her match happening against Chris Statlander. Now, of course, they did not like how she does the introduction, but they don't think that Chris Statlander is the one who's going to defeat her. But we'll see when we get to that. Adam Cole, as you know, made his in-ring turn after being injured for almost, 14 months or so. He faces Buddy Matthews. Now, throughout the entirety of the match, you can tell that he was not completely okay, that there was still complicating with his ankle, all that stuff. Even he was trying to walk out, Buddy Matthews trying to tell him that he is a coward or whatever he was thinking of him. But of course, Adam Cole was not going to tolerate what in fact he was going to do. But it only took, of course, a boom to put away Matthews. But at the same time, MJF was watching. This allowed for Adam Cole to pick up his first win. However, he saw his next opponent, and that is, of course, Malachi Black. So we don't know what the end game is. But we did see what Adam Cole mentioned about, of course, he's not concerned about what the whole thing was happening. He even admitted that, him and MJF were not meant to be friends. It's kind of like oil and water, that sort of thing. But we'll see where that leads us from there. Now, of course, Renee Paquette was doing an interview with Private Party and Christopher Daniels. Now, Daniels was informing them, do you guys know what you guys are getting yourself into? I did the same thing with Frank Kazarian that led to the disbandment of SCU. So he was not denying about what just happened. But he wanted them to think this very, very clear. Of course, they knew what they were getting themselves into, but they're confident enough to believe they will walk out as the AEW World Tag Team Champions. Now, we did see Don Callis along with Kyle Fletcher talking about that he wanted to talk with Will Ospreay, thinking he would show up. But no, it wasn't him. It was his tag partner from Aussie Open, Mark Davis, who's been out of action for quite some time. But Mark Davis does not like what he's seeing. But Kyle Fletcher has been telling him that he feels that Will Ospreay has been using him this entire time. But Davis refuses to believe it. But Kyle Fletcher believes that he'll come around, that sort of thing. But I don't know exactly what Kyle Fletcher's trying to do, but we'll see where that leads. Now, of course, Rene does another interview, but this time with Hangman, talk about Jay White in Full Gear. Basically, a lot of things. So he's telling him that he's going to regret getting in his face and all this because he thought, Jay White thought by defeating him in Wrestle Dream that was the end of it, but he was mistaken. So we'll see where that leads. Now, we do see Jon Moxley along with the rest of his cohorts make their way to the ring. Of course, Jon Moxley doesn't believe the kind of crap that Orange Cassidy's saying. Orange Cassidy said he's not a leader. He doesn't believe that crap. And of course, he's saying, you don't challenge me. I challenge you, that sort of thing. And then, of course, he decided to hurt Wheeler Yuta. But what we didn't realize, it was all a setup because Yuta used to be Orange Cassidy's mentor. Hello? Bien. Yeah. ¿Cuánto? Yeah. Okay, bye. Sorry about that. That was my mother. Anyway, um, of course, it was a trap to Wheeler Yuta. That sort of, to Orange Cassidy, and then of course members of the AEW locker room tried to help, but out of nowhere, Darby Allin showed up to deal with it. Remember, Darby hasn't been seen after what happened to, of course, to Bryan Danielson. So I don't know if he's going to step up as the leader or what. Now, however, while the private party were standing with AEW, we immediately jump into the AEW World Tag Team titles. I have to say it was a very interesting match. Of course, that the Young Bucks were going to do their old usual tricks. Now, there was a moment where we saw they led Quinn out of the ring where Okada two-stoned to keep him there while Isaiah Cassidy tried to do what he can on his own. But somehow, Mark Quinn was able to get back and then able to apply the gin juice on Nick, and of course Zay picked up the win, becoming our brand new AEW World Tag Team Champions. Now, we had a little face-to-face interview confrontation with Renee Paquette between Penelope Ford and, of course, Jamie Hayter, talk about their past and that sort of thing. So don't know exactly what to expect from that, but we will see when we get there. Now, Jericho, Big Bill, and Brian Keith, as you know, they acknowledge what Jon Moxley is doing in AEW. So they feel the need that they're going to do the same thing in Ring of Honor. So basically, they're claiming Ring of Honor as their territory. Now, Jack Perry, as you know, was minding his own business because, of course, they want to see what the Young Bucks had to say after losing. But, however, Daniel Garcia was trying to tell them that they're not doing a damn thing after what happened. Remember, the EVPs are not doing a thing while Jon Moxley and the rest are just doing things. But we did see later that the Bucks were shredding paper. We don't know what was going on. Now, our next match, we have Camille versus Chris Statlander. Now, I wasn't too sure. Part of me thought this match was going to end in a time limit draw, But it did not. It ended with, of course, Chris Statlander doing the Wednesday Night Fever, applying that this is Camille's first loss. But Mercedes Moné was not going to take that kindly. So they attacked her from behind. Now remember, a week ago, we did see Hook attack Christian Cage. There's the implication to believe that he may have been responsible for Taz, but Christian extended an olive branch to Hook next week. I'm going to say that he's going to try to persuade them to join him, but I highly doubt Hook would ever betray his own father. So we'll see where that leads us from there. Now, the conglomeration were interviewed talking about Jericho, so it looks more like their feud with him is not done. So we will see where they're going to go. Then we see the Bucks, of course, leaving the venue. Apparently, they're going to do their home everything but work. Even Christopher Daniels tried to talk to them, tried to, of course, tell them what the hell, guys. And then Brandon Cutler showed up, tried to run away with them, but apparently he was left behind until Jon Moxley and the rest of his cohorts showed up, and then CD tried to stop them, but apparently it seems the writing was on the wall that Jon Moxley was intending to target the EVPs. So we don't know where that leads. But Christopher Daniels had to watch Brandon Cutler getting his hand hammered by Moxley and the rest of his cohort. So we don't know where that leads. So we'll find out what happens going here and out. And then finally, our main event, Swerve Strickland versus Shelton Benjamin. I remember this thing happened because MVP felt that he should join him, but Swerve was not having it. He looks at Nana as family, so that's what led. Of course, Shelton Benjamin is a talented wrestler who has been there, done that. Of course, Swerve, he's dominant in every way possible, very crafty, very swifty. But it was the Swerve stomp that put Shelton away. MVP was on the phone, thinking that, okay, we won, that's over. But however, lights go out, and out of nowhere, Bobby Lashley showed up. We did not anticipate that, but it did manage to happen. And then, of course, they attacked Swerve. Then Nana, Riffs, and security tried to intervene, but no luck. But, however, MVP goes, guess who's back in business? So this could be the beginning of the faction that, of course, has been said months prior, the Hurt Syndicate. So we'll see what happens moving forward. So we are done now with, of course, with AEW Dynamite. So let's move on with our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's begin with upcoming events. First we have is the collaboration between DDT, DEFY Wrestling, and Tokyo-ish Pro, which of course they will be in Seattle on the 10th of November. They announced the Gringo Loco will take on the Pink Striker, Miyu Yamashita. So this is going to be an interesting intergender match. GCW announced a faction will be making their presence known in the You Know You Wouldn't Understand on the 29th of November, a special on Envoy. Features Hollow Wicked and two other dudes I haven't seen for quite some time, but yes. Now, German promotion West Side Extreme Wrestling will announce the third participant for the annual tournament 16 Carat, taking place between the 7th and 9th of March of 2025. Number 3 entry, Psycho Clown from AAA. That's going to be awesome. Now, for our developments, this is our only one we have so far. Remember Heavy Machinery, Otis and Tucker? Well, Tucker has announced that he'll be retiring. He's going to be a high school wrestling coach. I think that's pretty cool. And also, that will give him time to raise his two sons. So, nothing wrong about that. But we wish, of course, nothing for the best for Tucker in his future endeavors. And hope to see him down the road again. So, I think that's pretty much it for our news updates. Let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we have, of course, Ring of Honor and TNA. And also learn we do have, of course, New Japan. But I'm not sure if I'll be able to see the latest Stardom show. I'm a few shows behind from some certain events from Japan. I'll see if I can do those as soon as possible. Maybe by this weekend. But who knows? But right now, we'll leave things as it is. And we'll move forward. But until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.